I had an opening, and then I realized that opening buried the lead for something else, and then I tried to come up with something else, and then I couldn't. In
In
5D.
5D. Good, because your shitty opening broke the video portion of our presentation here.
Yay!
Yeah, hold on.
What
Give
did I
me.
do?
Honestly, it just decided to shit itself as soon as we went live.
Cool.
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
yeah, I'm seeing it.
yeah, yeah.
They can hear us though. They just
Oh,
can't see it.
yeah, they can hear us just fine, but they just can't see our
Okay.
beautiful, beautiful faces. I got a haircut,
Probably
damn
fix
it.
this.
I was starting to look like a fucking Mexican Wookie.
One of them are hippies.
Yeah, yeah, the fucking. All right, hold on. We're doing this again. Fuck it, we're doing it live.
Woo!
Woo. But yeah, so okay, real quick. Um, I didn't watch very much new shit this week.
Yeah, you failed us all.
I really did.
You're failing all over. You can't get the cameras working. You're not watching anything. Where's your
uh,
dedication?
I mean, you know what? I care, but I don't. It's that's just how it works. Here we
No,
are.
you had a legitimate excuse. It was Eduardo's anniversary, so he was off being a decent husband and not giving his wife a solid reason to divorce him.
Exactly, and that's the most important part.
Yeah.
Like, no divorce. I'm only doing this shit once. But that aside, I did end up a couple of things. Real quick, I finished Sandman.
He built a sandcastle.
Yes, built a sandcastle. Okay, so I see where people are coming from with a lot of talking. I will say though that I don't see it as any different than a lot of shows, right?
Sure.
There was enough. They kept throwing lore in, so like the talking didn't feel empty. Sometimes I had a hard time keeping up because they were saying so many things about the lore. Um,
Right.
Last little bit of criticism, though, I will say it got a little bit too. So they portrayed him maybe a little bit too much as a teenager. He got a little petulant a few times. This
Okay.
is, a god. So my issue is I don't know if that's how it was in the comics, so I can't talk too much shit. But it felt
Sure.
weird after, especially after everything that he'd already gone through. But yeah, no. Still give it a solid 4 out of 5 at this point.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. My wife thoroughly enjoyed it. So did that. Been watching some more Eureka. Not gonna try and go through a whole recap of all that. It gets weirder and weirder. I love it.
Yeah.
And then I am still playing Cult of the Lamb. I do want to bring it back up. I know I've talked about it recently. That's why I want to bring it back up. I'm kind of angrier at it now.
Because it's still not working.
They fixed a lot,
Okay.
so it rarely crashes now. It's only done it once since, and I think it's due to the problem that I've encountered. So there's a couple of issues I'm having. I'm pretty much done with it. Um, I've gotten all the power ups. I've done all the resourcey bits. Right, we're good there. I'm still working through some of the dungeon crawly bits. It's starting to lag.
Hmm.
It is very weird. Originally, I had noticed it before, and I thought it was an input because I wanted to also correct my last review because I had erroneously assumed that when I was trying to cook, because it's a bar where there's a green portion, red portions, and it's just going across the screen, and you're supposed to press the button on the green portion, right?
Sure.
And the fancier the dish is, it does more stuff for you, but it's a narrower green bar.
Sure.
I had assumed it was an input lag issue that when I clicked it when it was on the green, it ended up down the way. No, it doesn't seem to be that at all. It seems to be that was the first few versions of the lag spike that now I'm seeing all over the place.
Hmm.
So I'm starting to notice a similar pattern as to the a lot of the RTS games. Once you start getting into the building really large bases and you have all of this stuff going on all at the same time, that you start to see some of the units start acting weird in RTSs. But in this case, because it's not an RTS, and I don't think that they programmed it in that with that in mind, I think it's eating up system resources like crazy.
Sure.
I don't know that this is a piece that the PC will be better because I've what like 64 gigs of RAM in my fucking PC like a moron. Um, Maybe if I had the PC version, I could run it, but on my Switch, it's struggling, and I've had to get out of the game and come back a few times because it like I couldn't dungeon crawl. I was getting hit almost out of nowhere. It's because I'm hitting dodge and the screen's going, and you attack and it is straight up lagging. I think it has to do with the fact that I have 3 farms going. I've got a bunch of resources that are being refined. It's just a lot going on, right?
So you're gonna rebuy it whenever your Steam Deck comes in?
Yeah, probably. I'm hoping it'll be like 99 cents by then.
You think it'll get that cheap?
By the time I buy it again, yeah, probably. Because I'm at the point where I've pretty much beat it. So no, my rating stands, and I'm actually gonna go 3 instead of 3.5. Remember I said 3.5.
Yep.
Unless no, I'm man. Let's do 3.2. How's that?
It's very specific.
Yeah, because it again, I still spent many hours playing it. I very much enjoyed it, but I'm starting to get frustrated, and it's not the bosses aren't harder.
Sure.
That actually playing the fucking game is harder. It just doesn't make any sense. It's the mechanics that are failing. Anyways, so wanted to update that. So aside from that, I have had idle time while pooping. No, I'm kidding. Mostly to look at some e-news, and you know what? Nothing's fucking going on. And for the chat, I was rating Cult of the Lamb. Solid game, but it needs a little post-release dev work. It just does. I mean,
and that actually really makes me hope that whenever they do a physical release, it will be the updated version and not the release version. It would be horrible.
Yeah, well, and I am also glad that like this is only their first update, and they got most of it right. It's just this one fucking thing, and I don't know if it's a limitation of the Switch or if it legitimately is again that. But okay, so that aside, I started checking out some e-news. There's nothing really big fucking going on, but there's a couple interesting bits that I thought we'd enjoy to talk about. So most folks have heard, Chris Rock got punched in the face.
Slapped.
Slapped. Right, not a punch. That's why he didn't get arrested, I believe. But yeah, got slapped in the face. Apparently, the Academy has decided to offer him a return trip. They asked him to host again next year. Chris Rock, not Smith.
Yeah.
And it was funny because the comment that he said it's like it'd be like going back to a crime scene. and I quote, not everyone will get this, but that's okay. The quote was, "It would be like Nicole Simpson going back to the restaurant."
Wow.
And comedian.
Yep.
Right? Here you go. So I thought that was hilarious. That aside, though, we talked briefly about it. Let's do an after like a post-mortem here. Do you think everything is working out like it should with the Academy and Will and all that after that display?
No.
So,
I think it should have been taken a little bit more seriously.
Okay.
But I think Chris Rock has handled everything very well. Will Smith comes off as very pandery, comes off as just like wanting to get all this put away so he can get back to making millions and millions of dollars and not having people poo-poo at him. But I think Chris Rock has handled it all how it should have been.
Okay.
But yeah, the Academy was a little toothless. Like, oh, well, he's not allowed to come to any events. Okay. What does that actually do? Like, legitimately, I would have pulled the guy up on assault charges. But that's me.
Yeah, fair. But would you have taken his Oscar? Because a lot of people were very much like, can't believe it. 5 minutes later, he was up accepting an Oscar.
Yeah. Hard call, because a lot of times I try and think about the piece as a whole and the other people involved, but an Oscar is a personal award. Like, he didn't get an Oscar for, like the movie didn't get an Oscar, he got an Oscar.
Exactly, yeah.
So, Yeah, I don't know where I stand on that. I could see the justification for it, I suppose.
Yeah, so I 100% same. I think I I wouldn't want to pull the Oscar if only because especially in Hollywood, this is gonna mar that film. There will be an asterisk forever,
Sure.
right? I think that's already enough of a stain on a piece of work that isn't all him.
Sure.
So I wouldn't necessarily just like pull it, but there had to have been more consequences, like something. I don't know.
Yeah, like actually something?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
give him an Emmy or something instead.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that's how that works.
He doesn't
right?
get to keep the gift basket after. What?
I hear those things are worth thousands of
They are.
dollars.
They
They've
are.
got like, but now I've always wondered, and I guess you could tell me what you think. Is it because the products are actually worth that, or is it like designer cream where the maker just goes, yeah, this shit's worth $500?
No, they've had like iPhones and iPods and like they
Okay.
expensive bottles of liquor. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. That actually does remind me. Back in the day, I used to work at a hotel that actually hosted a film festival, and we were the headquarters. And many years, part of doing my job was packing these gift bags. And the first year the iPhones came out, I don't know how these people got so many of them, but they had one in each one of the bags.
See, they were supposed to have two, but Eduardo was packing them, and they each had one in their bag.
Yeah, dude, this was all I got. I only got enough for one in each bag. The worst part, even if that were true, folks would assume that I'd be out selling them. No, honestly, that the entire staff of that hotel would have bitchin' phones. That's all it would be like. Because I'm like, I'm not trying to make money off this.
Just fuck these people.
Yeah. Oh, but anyways, all right. So it sounds like, look, honestly, if they offer him enough money, Chris Rock might go back. But for now, he doesn't sound very interested.
I wouldn't be.
All right, so our next piece of e-news is Beverly Hills Cop, the sequel, is actually it's well into production, and they've added a couple of actors.
Reboot or a sequel? Like Eddie Murphy is back? Sequel?
Eddie Murphy is back. They've actually
Okay.
they got a new title. It's called Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley. So it sounds like it's going to be very Murphy focused.
Okay.
I imagine if they really wanted to pass the torch on this one, Murphy's character dies. There's a random prediction. Make it about him and finish his story off or some
I
shit.
think the entire movie is about how good of a remix of the theme song you can do.
ding, 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 scream. Wub,
I
wub,
mean,
wub, wub.
Oh God.
I'm sorry. How do you remix that into something relevant? I guess I don't know. You can add Justin Bieber moaning in the background or some shit.
I'm not a musician. I can't tell you.
I'm not. Fair enough. As an unsuccessful musician, I can tell you that no. There's a couple of things you can do. You could like sample and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's hilarious. So, anyways, they've added a couple of actors, and at first I felt like a terrible fucking person because one of the actress that has just joined the project, I had no idea who the fuck she was. So, Taylor Page.
Not by name.
Yeah, I don't usually do a lot of background on these segments, but this time I felt bad, god damn it. I was like, okay. So I went and I checked the filmography. Honestly, I've never seen anything that she did. She plays in next year's The Toxic Avenger, JJ Doherty.
Okay, I'm super excited now because I really want to see the new Toxic Avenger.
For sure, like that's a looking forward project, but everything else, like the only thing I saw was some of Grey's Anatomy, and she played in one episode, right? And other than that, I
I watched she's in 2 episodes of Ballers. I watched a little bit of Ballers. It's The Rock being a financial manager for football players
I've watched
on HBO.
a lot of Ballers. Where are you seeing this? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, but she's in like 2 episodes as a random character, so I'm sure I've seen her. But yeah, I didn't do the High School Musicals.
Yeah, that
And
was
then
the
a lot of
only
the
other
other
one
stuff.
that I may have seen, but I don't think my wife actually sat me through all three of them. I think I saw one of them.
Okay, so Hit the Floor, the show she was in, looks like a dancy cheerleader slash basketball show. So not the kind of thing that
Yeah, but
I would
anyways,
watch.
she's joining the cast, and so is Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Okay, I like Gordon Levitt.
Yeah, so I
Is Judge
feel
Reinhold back? That's the important part.
they haven't. I haven't seen a full cast list for the movie. This is that.
Oh, no Judge Reinhold, no deal.
Oh man, the man that I used to get confused for James Spader.
Judge Reinhold?
Yeah, before James Spader, like filled in back when he was
Sure.
still very skinny and lanky. Yeah. So, anyways, by the way, yep, this is starring Murphy. This is going to be more about Axel. So that was a little bit of e news there. Last bit that I that I've got here is it's kind of a two-parter here. The news is so apparently we heard that Affleck and Jennifer Lopez have been they're married.
Newly rewed.
Newly rewed. Yeah, I was like, I don't even know how to fucking say that.
Yeah.
They're giving it another go, gents and ladies. But yeah, so,
Benifer is back.
yeah, Benifer is back. Although it kind of never left because he marry another Jennifer.
Oh, maybe him and Jennifer Garner were Benifer. No,
Yeah.
I thought it was Jennifer
No.
Lopez
It
and Ben
started
Affleck were
with
Benifer.
Lopez, but then he
Yeah.
married another Jennifer.
Yeah,
so,
he married Electra.
Yeah, Christ, I forgot about that movie with good reason.
You should.
So look, I give Daredevil a pass, but I just Electra's a little too much. It just takes it too far.
I mean, yeah, okay.
But anyway, so they got married, and there was a video that got quote unquote leaked. I mean, somebody released it; it didn't get leaked. Of Jennifer singing to Affleck during the nuptials, and apparently she's fucking furious. She's like, "This video should not have been released. This was a very private moment.
That's fair.
This is stealing." So yeah.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
been a whole lot of talk about, like, you heard what happened with Kobe Bryant.
Yes, yeah, that was also really gross.
So there's been this big topic and debate of, like, public figures. How much are they? How much do they deserve some private moments? Some, what people would say, human dignity, right?
Sure.
And what's interesting is, like, I don't know, for things that are very personal, they're not in my opinion, they're still human. So, like, treat them like humans. Things
Right.
you wouldn't, want to do. But when they're in public, it's hard to make the argument that they deserve privacy, right? Where do you fall on this?
I would not consider a wedding a public event. Even if in a venue that has places where you can see it from, I think anybody whose wedding you're filming without their knowledge has a right to be a little pissed off.
Oh yeah, no. I'm actually, I fall on the JLo side on this one, right? Because again, be human. It is a momentous event. It is a large occasion.
Right.
So given, but generally speaking, like the thing with the paparazzi, like, what's your stance?
Again, I'm a little I'm a little
Testy?
right. I'm in the middle on this one, right? Because both sides are making assumptions about the other side that kind of nobody has a right to make. Yes, as a celebrity, it is well known and understood that paparazzi is part of the deal, and that celebrity is a thing, and that you will get stopped in public. It is understood, and anybody who's going into the life of an actor and thinks that they're going to avoid that is fucking kidding themselves. Full stop. And if you're coming into something expecting it, I don't think you have as much of a right to get mad until they start like when they start doing really gross stuff, like grabbing at you, surrounding you, chasing you down in a car. Unacceptable. But you're walking down the street and somebody snaps a picture of you, That's called journalism. That's absolutely allowed.
Yeah.
And everybody falls under that. And if you're a celebrity, you should expect an amount of journalism to come your way. On the other hand, it's really easy to point at somebody and go, "Oh, you make millions of dollars. How horrible that people want to take pictures of you." Okay, you be followed around all the fucking time by people constantly taking pictures of you, constantly stopping you,
Hmm.
constantly interrupting your day. You'd get pissed off too. You would. Don't even pretend like I'd be happy as long as I made
Yeah.
$1 million. No, you'd still be a dick about it, just like everybody else is a dick when they're minorly inconvenienced. That's life. So
Yeah.
both sides absolutely have a case to make. Unfortunately, with the way society is right now, and with the understanding of what those jobs mean, it comes with it. You do have to expect it. You're not extra special. You don't get to like avoid that. It's going to happen.
Yeah. So there's a reasonable point where it stops being journalism. I agree to that. Um, Stopping someone on the street, I mean, it's just kind of weird, anyways. So
Yeah.
I agree with you, and especially where I agree with you is, don't climb up somebody's wall.
No.
Like they should be able to
Stay
shoot
off of
you
people's
with
property.
bean bags or
Yep.
or other projectiles. Like stay on
Uh,
people's
And,
property.
look, here's that shit coming around full swing though. I'm saying these people need to expect that shit to happen. If somebody breaks onto some celebrity's property and gets themselves shot by that celebrity, I don't feel bad at all. How many times have people had creepy obsessions with celebrities?
Yep.
How many celebrities have been stalked, have been harmed, have had family members harmed?
Yep.
Just like you expect the paparazzi to come at them, they're in the public eye. Nutcases are going to come along with that.
Yep.
Leave these if you don't want to get hurt, leave these people alone. Don't go breaking into somebody's property.
Straight up.
It's a good way to get yourself shot on my property. Now you're going to do it to some celebrity
Right.
who has the money to make it go away? That's just dumb.
And good thing we've clearly marked not for children. Um,
Fuck you. Children need to learn this. Learn to stand your ground, kids.
that's the word. That was the moment we were suddenly canceled. Like nobody gives a shit about anything we've ever said until that very moment there, Bonsai. Okay, so here's a new little twist to it though. Now we've got drones.
Look, I'm against the whole drone spying on people thing anywhere all the time. I hate it. Um, Drones were this really cool technology that could have done a lot to like change things up, and instead people used it to be really creepy
Yeah.
anonymously. And then the expensive drone owners got really pissed when they would essentially harass people, and then those people would destroy their drones and you destroyed my expensive equipment. Well, you were staring at people and looking up obscure laws to make sure you could get away with it, which means you know you were doing something wrong. Don't pretend like you're fucking hurt by this. You're creepy.
Yeah, so that's
That's the problem.
yeah.
People abused it. That my problem with drones is humans. They abused it.
I mean,
It was a really
everything.
cool, really fun thing, and they went and fucked it up by doing really inappropriate shit with drones.
I feel
Not saying not saying every one of them did
I
it, but
mean,
the ones who
honestly though, like
did, there you go.
I feel like it just went the way of the dick pic, right? Look at, hey, we put a
Look,
camera in your fucking phone.
you ready for the horrible thing that's probably going to come out of this? The whole issue with drones is you don't own airspace. They can sit at an airspace above your house and take pictures and not be counted as trespassing or being whatever. And if you're in your backyard, it can be considered public view and all that bullshit and whatever else, right? So what you're doing is you're opening up a way for somebody to capitalize on this and make even more money off people for something they don't need. You're gonna have to start buying airspace above your house up to a certain threshold when it becomes government-owned airspace.
That's funny. I mean, at that point, hopefully you'd get some laws changed, but that's not how that works.
No,
Um,
if somebody can make a shit ton of money on it, they're just gonna do that.
but yeah, so I know we got off on a tangent about the drones here, but that's becoming a very real thing. Like, if you
Yep.
start to see a lot of the paparazzi shots nowadays, well, not a lot, but not all of, but a lot, they're from weird vantage points now.
Mhm.
And I'm like, dude, the only way you took that was either you were hanging off a motherfucking wire, or it was a drone. and
Was a
you
drone.
you were looking to somebody's backyard. It
was
is
a drone.
it is kind of disgusting. All right, so moving away from weird fucking people, I definitely wanted to talk about it because it's becoming not just a nuisance but very hot, debated topic, especially with what's been in the news lately. So definitely part of it. We're gonna be very movie heavy this episode, but you've watched a whole bunch of shit.
All right, hold on. Let's do this because I just finished my adult beverage. You didn't give us your take on the drones, so give us more your extended take on how you feel about that privacy law while I take a bio. You're welcome.
I'm not too clear on the privacy law itself, if I'm being honest, but it is interesting. I do feel that you should own the airspace above your home. Like you've got this parcel of land, you should be able to own it. I mean, not in the sense where you're like a bird comes into your area and you're like, fuck it, I get to shoot it. Now let's be reasonable, but definitely in the sense where it's like, hey, no one should be able to build above me, right? Like my neighbors shouldn't be able to just build a bridge over my fucking house and put me in the perpetual shade. That's messed up. But like, I should be able to control what's directly above my property. I completely agree. That aside, though, like the idea of drones is not just really cool. I know we didn't go into it too much, but like delivering the drones, like the delivery drones, that's a good thing. But generally speaking, yeah, you're right. Humans ended up ruining everything. So I don't know. I like drones. I still like the idea. It really sucks that they're not allowed in a lot of the state parks and the federal parks.
Yeah. But
Because
again,
I'm like,
people fucked around.
yeah, but if there's a place to have them, I'm sure some asshole was attaching fireworks to them or some shit, and so they were banned. Or
Yep.
I didn't even have to think that hard to come up with a scenario where they'd get banned. He was dumb. So, all right, what the fuck have you been watching? Because I feel like you should have an aneurysm.
So I sat down yesterday and I watched all seven, I think it's seven Chucky movies. Child's Play and Chucky movies, because that's really the more appropriate way to put that.
Yeah. Okay, so I have 8 on the screen.
So there is a reboot, which I did not watch. I watched basically Child's Play to Cult, and did not
Okay.
do the 2019 reboot.
Yeah.
2019 reboot and then the 2021 show, which I do really want to watch, but unfortunately, Sci-Fi does not make their stuff easy to get a hold of on streaming, so I'm having problems watching that one.
Fair enough.
Okay, up to Cult. Yes, so that's what I had. That does not have the reboot. So it's 8 films, not 7 films. Okay. Oh, why are they okay? This is in the worst order.
I have
this
no
is in
idea.
The worst order.
I have no idea why they're in this order.
And maybe 3 is the reboot then. Okay, let's go through this horrible order you have. So starting with number 2, Child's Play, the first one. For anybody who's listening is going to have an aneurysm trying to figure out what we're talking about. Eduardo has an image up it's all the Chucky movies, but they're in the strangest order, and I'm telling you right now, no matter what way you read it, no matter what way you look at it, this is not any sort of logical or watchable. Maybe they're ranking them?
That's what I was starting to think, because I was sitting here and I was like, it's not release order. It's not... What is this?
If this is a ranking order, I also have to say, and excluding the reboot, I kind of hate this. I kind of hate this ranking order.
I mean...
It starts off strong, and then it just falls to absolute dog shit towards the end.
Well, tell us about it.
Okay, so starting with number 2 on this stupid list, but number 1, Child's Play, the original. Honestly solid. 90% of the effects absolutely hold up. Old, grainy audio, grainy video, because it is older, you're just never gonna fully get away from that. Though I did have all mine on Blu-ray, and I will say these actually look really good on Blu-ray.
Okay.
Just for what that's worth, I liked the Blu-ray. I thought it looked great. I have a nice TV for it, so it looked good. I love that the first one really feels somewhere right in between, like, it's right in between a horror and a murder mystery, and also right in between a slasher and a creature feature.
Okay.
Because it's kind of all of those things, and they do a really good job of finding that balance. Now, obviously, going back and watching it, it's like watching the first Alien movie. Once you're aware of what the xenomorphs are, it does take away a little bit of that first Alien movie, because you get the life cycle, you understand what's happening.
Yep.
Same with Child's Play. Once you understand it's the doll, a little bit of that mystique is gone. But going into the movie, they really play it out more like a murder mystery. They're really trying to convince you that maybe it's not the doll, and maybe it's Andy, the little boy. And mad credit to the act. Can you just pull up the like generically IMDb for Child's Play movies? Because it has a lot of the same characters, and I know most of their names, but like I don't know Andy's actor's name, Andy Barclay. But Kid does a great job. But they really play you off of like, well, maybe it is the kid. Maybe it's like the Omen, and the kid's secretly evil or something. But obviously, it's not. It's good old Charles Lee Ray and a Chucky doll doing murder. Solid film. Honestly, the first one probably is one of the best ones. Like a lot of these older horror movies, the first one inspired all of this to happen. So obviously, it stands really tall. And these are two of the ones that I will actually agree with. If we're talking about the best Chucky Child's Play movies, it is probably Bride of Chucky and Child's Play. So having that be 1 or 2 on this, I'm just going to call it a ranking list. I'm just going to do it. On this ranking list, calling it number 2 is fair enough. I'm for it. Did you get his name?
The kids?
Yeah, Andy.
Where the hell did it go? Sorry, I was looking for the actual, like, full list, but they were like, pay us money. I'm like, no.
Yeah, fuck that.
Top cast, here we are, sorry. How is Andy not... Oh, that's why. My fault.
You're looking for a child and he's an adult with an adult picture?
No. I'm in Child's Play 2019.
That's an entirely different film.
Yes, exactly, which is why I was very confused. You saw that face I made?
Yep.
It was exactly because
Very
of
different
that.
movie.
Very different movie. Alex Vincent is the...
Alex Vincent.
Yeah.
Does an incredible job as Andy. So good.
Yeah.
Like top notch for a child actor. Okay, let's move into. I'm not. Do you want me to rank each one? That's gonna be hard. I can. Do you want me to?
I mean, hard in the sense where, like, just give it a fucking ranking. It's arbitrary anyways. Welcome to the podcast.
4.5 for Child's Play.
Cool.
Solid movie.
All right.
Child's Play 2. A little bit jarring. So we open up on the movie, and Andy has already been moved into an orphanage.
Okay.
And you find out it's because nobody believed his mom, or apparently the 2 cops who were with the mom that verified the story and survived the initial attack.
Great. So his mom's, like, locked up or some shit?
So she gets put in an insane asylum. They say, like... And they really only talk about the one cop, I think. And he's basically just been, like, discharged, disgraced, and called a liar. They don't really mention what happened to the other cop, or at least not that I caught. If they mention it, it's a single line of just like, this happened, and then that was it. Because I literally did not even catch it.
Yeah, unfortunately, nowadays, I just believe that this would happen.
I mean... Okay, but like, yeah, but... But like, no, but like,
Darkest timeline.
So, Andy goes into foster care with his cool new cigarette-smoking older sister, Kyle. Yes, her name is Kyle.
Cool.
And that's gonna be important. And his foster parents, the mother who really wants to believe that Andy is just a sweet, innocent kid who saw something traumatic, and the father who believes he's now disturbed and going to kill them all in their sleep.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
So
okay.
Andy kind of struggles to figure out what this whole being an orphan thing is like, and what this whole new family thing is like, and is trying to do all this. Meanwhile, he is sure that Chucky has found him. He is sure that Chucky is real, and that Chucky has found him and wants to murder him. And he's having to try and get anybody to believe him. It's that story, you know. We've now moved into the typical slasher sequel, right? He's back, and he wants me. No, he's dead. He's not dead. That whole thing, right?
Okay.
This one does work a little better on a character level, cementing kind of the trauma and the life that Andy's going to lead. Because what's great is Andy's kind of already given up a little bit. There are lots of moments where he's like, I already told you this and you don't believe me. Like, people keep badgering him for answers and he's like, nope, I already fucking told you. We're not going to still do this. And I kind of love that. Like, kids get frustrated. Little kids especially get really frustrated easy, and I can see a kid just tuning the world out
just
when
done.
you know something is real and just zero people want to take you up on that.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, Alex Vincent, I think you said it was.
Yep.
Great job. The older sister, Kyle, kind of the cool older sister who maybe doesn't believe Andy as much as she should, but still believes in him as like a person and just wants to get this kid used to the lumps that life is going to give him. And not even entirely fatalistically. Like I said, she's a big cigarette smoker, and when Andy gets a hold of her cigarette and takes a puff, she's like, dude, you don't want to do this. Like, it's not good for you, even though she is like, life is going to be hard, and it's going to keep being hard, and it's going to keep knocking you down. She's still not so fatalistic that she's like, fuck it, might as well smoke, Andy. I love the complexity of her character. Can you look up who played Kyle?
Christine Elise.
Fantastic job from her. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Loved her performance. Man, a lot of the horror movie sequels don't hold up as well.
By the way,
Nightmare
she comes back in Cult of Chucky.
Thank you for spoiling that. I was going to get to it.
You brought up the goddamn actress. Not my fault. I'm in the goddamn IMDb. Not sorry. Continue.
Maybe just don't spoil anybody else who might come and go from the series, because, spoiler, that's going to happen a lot as we get through this. So stay with me.
Oh, that's a thing. I didn't realize that was an ongoing thing.
This is going to happen a few times.
I've only ever seen Child's Play 2, and I don't even remember 2. I definitely saw 3 because I remember the military academy.
Yes, so we're getting there. Okay, so Child's Play 2 does a lot of character work that the first one couldn't do a whole lot of. It doesn't suffer from that lag like Nightmare on Elm Street 2, or even look, Friday the 13th 2 is good, but it doesn't have that great twist at the end. Can you call it as good as the first one? I don't know. We'll explore that soon. I'm getting my way through that series, but it's a lot harder to watch all in one place. Child's Play 2, great ending. Like, weirdly gory without being gore.
Okay.
Super creepy. Again, all of these movies, the practical effects all hold up throughout.
Okay.
Whole series.
That's good.
Full stop. Man, if 2 is not completely on par with 1, then it's only slightly less. So if I gave number 1, I said, what, 4.5?
Mm-hmm.
Then call this a 4.3.
Oh, wow, okay.
2's still really solid. Look, you're going to find a theme. I honestly, right now, as far as on average classic horror franchise with more good movies than bad movies, Child's Play is my favorite so far.
Okay.
I've done all the Halloween. I've done all the Elm Street. I'm working my way through
all the Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. I did the first 2 Texas Chainsaws. I'm still working my way through them, but I've been doing these. And I did all the Saws. They're gonna do 10. Okay. 4-3. So moving on, Child's Play 3, like you said, we got a new actor for Andy because we're going to age him up, and now Andy is in a military school. It's Andy at a military academy. This is one of the ones that I completely disagree with this ranking list of yours. It's number 7 out of 8, meaning it's the second worst one. It's top 4 for me. 3 is also really good. Can you look up the main girl in number 3, because she actually goes on to do something, but I forgot to look it up while I was watching it.
Do you know the character's name?
No.
Is it De Silva, maybe?
Yes, it is De Silva.
Perry Reeves.
Can you look up what else she's been in that we might know her from?
No, because you're yelling at me.
Just don't say she comes back in anything. She's like a mom in something. Oh, she's an Entourage. She plays Ari Gold's wife, and she's fantastic.
Yes, you're right.
She plays... Oh, fuck Ari. She runs that poor little loser's life. Okay. Child's Play 3. Look, it ages him up. It's a lot less about it's about Andy without always being about Andy. So Chucky finds a new person he's going to take over, makes a kind of inappropriate joke about that kid being black. Not totally inappropriate, but kind of inappropriate. It's worth noting at least.
Andy, played by Justin Whalen.
Also was in something else.
Super Capers.
Nope. So,
He was.
okay, sure, but I don't think that's the thing people are going to think of him from. What's Justin Wayland?
Whalen. Yeah. Jesus Christ, he's been around for a while.
Oh, he's in the. This is what I think. Unfortunately, a lot of people remember him from. He's in the first Dungeons and Dragon movies with Marlon Wayans.
Oh,
Damon
yes,
Wayans? Marlon Wayans.
yes. Okay, he was also in Dorm Days too.
Yes. He. I can smell through time, Newmar.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's taking over duties on Andy, and this is Andy a little bit more trying to become the hero because he understands Chucky and he understands that Chucky can be killed. It's mostly about him confirming that Chucky's there and then trying to weave his way through military school to be able to do something about Chucky.
Yeah.
This is probably the weakest movie for Andy, but I would still say a strong movie, and actually one of my favorite kills for Chucky. That's actually, I think it ends up being multiple kills. They're doing a survive in the woods military school paintball exercise, and Chucky replaces just one team's guns with real bullets. The team that was supposed to have red paintballs got real bullets and starts shooting people. Look, I like it. It's kind of more of a hero story than the other two, but not entirely. Lots of good performances from everybody involved. Still great practical effects. This one's filmed a lot darker than the other ones are. I feel like there's more scenes outside at night, and so it tends to be a little like your final scene in number 2 is a big fight in a factory.
Yep.
3 is mostly in the dark outside. Or in like bunks when it's nighttime. There's a lot of trying to steal Chucky from people's rooms at night. So there's just lots of dark nighttime shots. But weirdly, almost none of them involve actual Chucky. It's still a lot of practical dolls and just his feet running, but that was always a thing. It was a weird call. It's definitely the weakest of the Child's Play movies, right? Because after this, we're going to move into Chucky movies. Yeah. While it is the weakest of the Child's Play movies, I'll still say it's a strong movie. I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
So yes, we've moved down, but we've not moved down by leaps and bounds. These have stayed really strong. Was it Brad Dourif still delivers a fantastic performance as Chucky? Yeah, I have very few terrible things to say about the first 3, except for the one. The line that made even me just a little uncomfortable is once Andy finds out who the new kid that Chucky's trying to take over is, he goes, "Hey, Andy, I'm going to be a bro. What do you think about that?" And I was like, okay. It's definitely not the worst thing you could have said by any means, but we all knew what you meant.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Look at us,
different
time,
look at us
different
being
place,
all
old
fucking
movie.
enlightened and shit.
Yeah, it was just... If I was making the movie today, there's...
It was a bit much.
It was... no, not even that. Not even that. It could have been worse.
Oh,
It could have been so much worse.
It's sad that that's... Or anyways, moving on.
Moving on. So I like Chucky 3. Okay, so now we move into Bride of Chucky, put as number 1 on, again, what we are calling this ratings list. And again, I can agree with that. Bride of Chucky definitely moves into a more horror comedy feel. We add Jennifer Tilly to the main cast, who much like the Flash Barry Allen, when he runs, it generates the energy that is the Speed Force that gives super speed to every character in history in the DC universe, past, present, and future. If you have super speed that comes from the Speed Force that is generated by Barry Allen running, Jennifer Tilly's voice is what generates puberty for boys all over the world. Just Jennifer Tilly is the hottest voice in the planet. And then coming up closely behind her is Sophia Bush. Okay, that's Barry Allen and Wally West. You've seen her because you watched One Tree Hill.
I didn't actually.
I thought you did.
No.
Just
I've
Google anything with Sophia Bush where she talks for like a minute or two, and just you'll get what I mean.
I know who this is, and I've heard her voice. She also does some voice acting. So,
She more recently, but
yeah.
yes, and God, I'm so happy. Uh, so we add Jennifer Tilly to the cast, and we do a small retcon.
We went straight from Enlightened to this. I love it.
The small retcon. Hey, I'm not objectifying their looks. I'm objectifying their voices. It's better.
I don't know that it is honestly, but
So the small retcon that we add in is that Charles Lee Ray, the killer, who would I notice I'm not doing a big like plot reveal. You should just watch Chucky. And also, it's old, and if you don't know the history of Chucky, just go watch Chucky. So Charles Lee Ray had a girlfriend this whole time, Jennifer Tilly's character, who is also a serial killer. And there's also the small caveat that's maybe this was added in 3, but I want to say it's not added in until Bride. But again, when you watch 7 movies in a row, there's going to be some blurring of some timeline.
yeah,
Okay?
there will be bleed through.
Originally, Charles Lee Ray was just the whatever city strangler, Boston City. I already forgot what fucking city it takes place in. But he strangles people. In a later movie, it is said that they are voodoo ritual killings. Because he uses voodoo to move himself, and that is the thing. Chucky is a voodoo series. He uses voodoo to move his soul around using the power of Damballa Widu, who is one of like the voodoo pantheon high up Loa. Okay, so in this retcons it that he was doing ritual killings the whole time.
Okay,
and his ex-girl or his ex-fiancée, only ex because he died, resurrects him again, stitches it together after he was torn apart, stitches the old doll together, resurrects him again, pisses him off. He kills her and resurrects her, and now they are on a murder spree. There is no Andy in this one. It is completely new people that they've kind of duped into driving them cross-country so they can dig up his body. And together with another new retcon, the amulet of Damballa, they can move their souls into a human body. Now, originally, the reason he needed Andy was because if he stayed in the doll body for too long, he'd be stuck in it. And he could only move his body to the first person he revealed his secret to, Andy. This one, it's just an amulet he needs to get that will move his body around for him.
Okay.
Or sorry, move his soul around for him. Sorry, not his body, his soul. Okay? So, small retcons once we move out of being Child's Play movies and being Chucky movies. And the amulet of Damballa will continue to be a part of this for at least the next movie.
Okay.
A lot funnier. We get a young Katherine Heigl in our lead as like as our final girl. We have an unfortunate bury your gays moment, like all horror movies really like to do with gay characters, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s. But Jennifer Tilly, amazing performance. Even Katherine Heigl is pretty good in this, and usually she's hit or miss with me. Not talking about her personal life.
Blasphemy.
Against her. I like her in Knocked Up. She was great in that. And of course, Dorff still giving an amazing Chucky performance. Weirdly, this is a fantastic shitty movie. Like, is Bride of Chucky a great movie? No, it's got a kind of thin plot. This is a weird one to say. It doesn't follow a lot of the tropes of a film like this, but that is not to its benefit. I actually feel like it could have used some more staples of the genre, and yet, despite these couple of negative things I'm saying, it's still probably one of the best ones because of the humor. Chucky has always been kind of quippy. He is extra quippy. It's always kind of had an over-the-top tone. It's way over the top. They really lean into the gore, they really lean into the character work, they really lean into the world. Somehow, what's kind of, like, what honestly shouldn't be one of the best Chucky movies, just kind of is. It's just done so honestly and earnestly that what they're doing works.
I'm legitimately surprised because, specifically, I stopped going to the movies after Child's Play 3 because I thought the concept was ridiculous.
Yeah. And yeah, Bride is exactly what you need because it stops taking it seriously. It knows it's a movie about killer fucking dolls. It knows. It's very, very aware.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to rewatch it then, or not
So
rewatch it, but I'm gonna have to watch it.
I'm gonna do it in this weird order. I'm gonna give it a rating, but then I'm gonna tell you the end. So my rating, look, I'm not gonna put it above Child's Play like this does. I'm actually gonna say it's right in between Child's Play 1 and 2. So
Okay.
if Child's Play is a 4.5 and Child's Play 2 is a 4.3, this is a 4.4. It's right in between there. It just works. For some strange
Okay.
reason, it just works. Let's get to the lowest rated of this whole franchise. The end of Bride of Chucky reveals that Chucky is now kind of comfortable in this doll form and has fully possessed it. So the dolls bleed, the dolls feel pain. He is fully in this body. And so they have sex.
Yeah.
He gets pregnant and has a little baby Chucky monster at the end of the movie.
Okay.
Enter Seed of Chucky, which this shockingly lists as number 6 above Child's Play 3 and Cult of Chucky. Let me tell you right now, spoilers, this is my bottom barrel bitch. I hate this movie. This was awful.
Okay.
The opening of the movie is watching sperm travel through Chucky's dick tube right up into her and into the egg, and then it's born, and it turns out it's owned by a ventriloquist in a sideshow, and it has this light British voice, and it believes it's from Japan because it has a Made in Japan tattoo on its arm, and boy, it just wants to know its parents, and it has these crazy dreams where it thinks it's hurting people until it realizes it's hurting people, and it pisses itself. And it wakes up urinating all over itself every morning. And so it becomes this convoluted plot where Jennifer Tilly is playing Jennifer Tilly, playing the killer who resurrected the Chucky doll in like a made-for-TV movie where people believe it. They believe in the Chucky myth as just that, like a local legend. It was this thing back in the 80s. This doll was found by all these murders, and local legend says it was a murder doll.
Okay.
So Jennifer Tilly plays Jennifer Tilly, and she is trying to get the job as Virgin Mary in Method Man's new Jesus biopic. Method Man plays Method Man.
Okay.
Look, I'm just gonna jam through this one super quick. There's a scene where they run Britney Spears off the road in their van while Chucky is trying to teach Glenn/Glenda how to be a killer. It's Glenn/Glenda because it doesn't have genitalia, so they can't decide what gender the baby is. And then the whole movie is this struggle between Tiffany and Chucky over whether it's a boy or a girl, and the character has all of these gender identity issues that like should feel really woke and really just come off as stupid. Like it's just not even done well. It just comes off as dumb. It's fucking dumb. And then it's one thing if it's done well, and it's just not.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just sounds like you also hate this movie.
It's a lot of people chewing the fat, which usually is great, and it's just not working. Jennifer Tilly's fun because she's playing this character of herself. Method Man is doing this fun kind of take on himself, but it's trying to do that horror meta thing where they're like, look at us looking at Hollywood, and they just don't do it well. Nothing lands. None of the jokes land. They start using more CG.
Great, but shitty execution.
Yes, they start using more CG shots, some of which look okay, but a lot of which look pretty bad. They should have just stuck to all the ones that were practical. I realize we're running out of time, so I'm just going to try and hit it. Look, it's just bad. It just falls flat. Honestly, if I'm rating this as a movie, not part of this series at all, it's like a 2.
Oof. Yeah. All right.
It's really fucking bad. The ending, I'm just going to spoil it. You don't need to watch this movie. The end, they figure out that they can impregnate Jennifer Tilly with Chucky's doll man seed. So they impregnate Jennifer Tilly with twins. They kill Chucky. Tiff, the doll, possesses Jennifer Tilly because their voices sound so much alike. And so she becomes Jennifer Tilly, and she moves the 2 souls inside of Glenn, the male and the female, into the 2 twins. And now she has a good twin, the boy Glenn, and an evil twin, the girl Glenda. And she's Jennifer Tilly, who's a celebrity and a murderer with 1 good twin and 1 evil twin. And that's the end of the movie.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on. After that, we do a soft sequel/reboot Curse of Chucky. This was actually a direct-to-DVD movie. It does not deserve to be as low as number 5. This time we have Fiona Dourif as the leader. That is Brad Dourif's daughter. So the guy who's been voicing Chucky brings in his daughter to play the lead. She is a paraplegic who we're going to retcon some history in. Chucky actually paralyzed her as a young girl, somewhere between when he was turned into the doll and when he was running around with Andy. Also, how he the shootout from the beginning of Chucky 1, where he becomes the doll, is different. It's just a whole different scenario in this that doesn't involve the cop. So we've just kind of tweaked and retconned the beginning of Chucky to make room for what is essentially a much more horror-centric, dropping the comedy, like almost we're gonna blend genres again. It's like one part haunted house, one part like break-in movie, because Chucky is this figure moving through this house that these people grew up in, but their mother died. Now they're at the house trying to figure out what to do with it, and all their lives have different interweaving things going on. Meanwhile, Chucky is secretly moving through the house and killing people. It works. It's a much darker tone. It's filmed much darker, but we're right back to practical. Some things don't look as good because it was a direct-to-DVD movie.
Yeah.
That just comes with a specific budget. But the acting is on point once again. The horror is on point. There's this great reveal where you're not quite... spoiler. Huge spoiler. So if you're going to check this one out, just like skip ahead 2 or 3 minutes or something. There's this great scene where, again, it's like the soft reboot. And so even though Chucky has mentioned Andy, you're not 100% sure if the other movies have happened. And then a character is looking at the doll and realizes it has makeup all over its face, and she peels the makeup away to reveal the stitches that show up in Bride of Chucky.
Uh-huh.
And so we kind of confirm that movie exists. Dourif ends up surviving. It's a whole thing. Curse of Chucky's really good. I'm legitimately going to put it right on par with Child's Play 2. That's another 4.3.
Oh, wow.
Tied.
Okay.
Really, really, really good. Loved it. And then that brings us into Cult of Chucky. So, Cult of Chucky, Fiona Dourif's character is now in a mental institution because she insists that her whole family was killed by this doll. Everybody says, no, this was you. You have schizophrenia. And she's actually accepted that. She's accepted that she is a schizophrenic, Chucky was never real, and that she murdered her family. Meanwhile, the post-credit scene of Curse of Chucky shows Jennifer Tilly showing up at the very, very end of the movie to collect the doll. Jennifer Tilly playing Tiff, but having never put herself into a doll, any of that stuff, right? She shows up, she gets the doll, and she mails it. She mails the doll, and in the post-credit scene, we find out it was mailed to Andy, who opens it, sees it, gets weirded out, and it is the same actor. They brought the little kid. Alex Vincent is back as Andy. He sees the doll, he gets weirded out, he leaves the room. Chucky gets up, grabs a knife, and when he turns around, Andy's waiting with a shotgun. He knows this game, and he shoots Chucky in the fucking face. Says, play with this. So, Cult of Chucky opens up. Fiona is in a mental institution, but Andy's the main character. And he has the head of Chucky kind of nailed to a board and burnt and tortured, but still alive. And he kind of talks to it because he can't convince... He's even gone on TV, and they keep thinking, oh, what an amazing toy, what an amazing prop. It's good that you get your frustration out in this kind of art. Nobody believes him. So Fiona is... that's not her character name, I'm using the actress's name, sorry.
Yeah.
But Fiona is in the mental institution, and there's multiple Chucky dolls in the institution. And she can't tell which one is Chucky. Big spoiler, they're both Chucky. They're all Chucky. Chucky found a new incantation that lets him split his soul as much as he wants between dolls and people. And so Chucky is going around and infecting dolls, infecting people. And I'm just, again, spoiler, I'm actually going to give you the ending for this one because it was so much fun. In the end, Chucky finds a way to possess the body of Fiona, which can now walk again because it's possessed. Which is great because you get to see his daughter do an impression of him doing an impression of Chucky, which is Jack Nicholson. So it's his daughter doing him doing Jack Nicholson. And she pulls it off. She's so good. I love it. And I got to meet her at Crypticon. She is so nice. What a lovely person. So Andy gets framed for the murders in the mental institution. She leaves, gets in the car with Jennifer Tilly playing Tiff again, knowing that it's Chucky in the back. But then you pan to the back seat, and there's the Tiff doll from Bride of Chucky. So Bride did happen, and this isn't Tiff. This is Jennifer Tilly with Tiff in there and cloned to the doll.
Uh-huh.
And there's still a Chucky head on a plank, at least one more Chucky doll, and Fiona Dora in there, and they now call themselves the Cult of Chucky. This all apparently does lead into the Sci-Fi show. I have not seen it. From what I'm told, you go through the first season of Sci-Fi's Chucky, and one of the very last scenes introduces Fiona Dorff's character. And I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe it's her character as possessed by Chucky, not as herself in the wheelchair. And my best stab, the post-credit scene of Cult of Chucky. Andy is locked away in the mental institution being blamed for everything, but the door slides open and a badass chick in all black smoking a cigarette walks in. And it's the spoiler you gave us, but Kyle is finally back. She walks through the door and says, "Andy sent me. We're gonna have some fun," and pulls out a blowtorch and starts torturing the Chucky head. And that's when you pan over and you see the picture of Andy with her while he's graduating from military school, because we dropped the character in 3. Yeah. I'm so glad she's back. I hope she makes it to the show. I hope the show continues the Cult of Chucky line. I loved it. Does not deserve to be at the bottom by any means. Honestly, 2, 3, and Curse all on par. Fan-fucking-tastic. All 3. Loved them.
All right, so we jammed right through that, and we did hit the hour here. So, any last words about the series?
Overall, strongest horror franchise of like the famous classic ones that I've finished.
Okay, cool.
There's lots more to do. There's lots, like, I haven't done Hellraiser, I haven't done Wishmaster.
So far, top of your list.
But yeah, so far, this and Scream both hold up. Both have more good movies than bad movies. Not saying they're all great, but both have more good than bad. This and Scream have really blown me away. Truly.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, on that note, check us out Monday nights, 7 to 8 Pacific on N5D Podcasts on YouTube. Tuesdays, twitch.tv/Metagame Network. We do multiplayer game night. Not sure we're playing tomorrow, but we will be there. Final words, Bonsai.
I can't think of anything to say right now. That's a joke people who watch Chucky will get.
Bye.